Rodney's he's a professional. He really came with a lot of comfortability within, playing in college football, especially in this conference. You could tell that he's used to playing with, high profile guys and, the competition being high. So he was very immediately just focused on, what he needed to do to be able to get comfortable within the offense. And not only that, but also gelling with the guys on the team. So you can see just in the locker room and around the building how guys treat him. They show a lot of respect towards Rodney. Coaches as well, obviously because of how he carries himself within the building. Very professional, always on time, doing everything right. Very, very good when it comes to the football IQ. He can play multiple positions for us. The other part about that, I think he really comes in and pushes Gio, playing the same position, very similar statures. I think Gio understands that it does two things. Obviously, it makes him want to be more competitive within the room, which Gio naturally is, but it also lets Gio know that there's a quality candidate that is going to push him if things aren't right for him, and so that healthy competition really allows both of them to really play at a high level.
And what do you make of his journey to Arizona? Because I think he was like a high-level basketball recruit too.
Yeah.
Went to West Virginia, played football. Just what do you think of his path and what he's done?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. That's the best thing about college football. Being able to get guys from, the opposite side of the country, guys that were, 4-star basketball players or whatever you might have been, but and then, getting a guy from playing a team within your conference. And Rodney was a starter there. Rodney caught punts there. He did a lot for that football team, and then for him to trust us and want to come all the way over here to Arizona, and for him to be having a good experience like he's having, it really makes you feel good as a coach, knowing that, he's a great fit, and, he's going to have a great opportunity to be really big for us this season.
Bobby, Isaiah Mazel's had a really great start to camp. Maybe didn't have the best day today, though. What's your message to him on a day like today where he dropped a lot of balls about bouncing back and letting that go?
Keep playing. Just keep playing. It's part of the game, and he's still a young player. So we always got to really understand still where these guys are and be honest about their development and what that looks like, because they will often show you in these moments of these high-level plays, and naturally as coaches and everybody in the media, you want to crown these guys. You want to tell them this is the next big deal, and the reality is, it's really what's next for them. So I really try to keep them present, really try to keep them focused on what's happening each day, each play, and then moving forward. So it wasn't his best day, but it's going to be like that. That's also the beauty of having such a great group, guys that are close enough to be able to walk over there and pick him up after his third drop and be like, hey, man, we're okay. Just keep playing. He didn't lose no reps. He jumped back in. And what we're looking for is a response at the moment. How are you going to respond? Are you one that's throwing your helmet, making complaints? Are you pointing fingers? Are you making excuses? Are you going to redline it? Really own it and fix it, take accountability before it, and then push forward. There's no doubt in my mind that Isaiah is going to be in this building later, and we're going to be, fixing that, correcting that, and then he's going to be back in the morning ready to go again. And that's the development piece we want.
At 165 pounds, what's the best way for him to stay healthy and be able to take the pounding wide receivers are going to have to take throughout the season?
Yeah, I do. It's going to be about his recovery, and it's going to be the same for everybody. He's a little lightened, but at the same time, the lightness comes with a lot of electricity. So he's very quick, he's very twitchy. The guys aren't going to be able to get full hits on Isaiah. There's going to be very few times that he's going to be able to get grabbed at the line of scrimmage because of how much twitch and how much quickness he has. So, it's nice to have those different levels and those different personalities and different body types in the room, so we can kind of get guys in and out. And Isaiah he'll do well with his size. There's no doubt in my mind.
Seth mentioned that you're the best he's been around in terms of figuring out reps. What goes into that, especially with how competitive the room is this season?
Yeah, it's tough to be candid about it. It's really not easy because naturally a lot of these guys deserve to play. So naturally in camp, you have to spend a little bit more time. I got to get into that script and understand, kind of the rep count, making sure guys get a fair opportunity. Not only that, but the way we're rotating quarterbacks. Obviously Noah's the number one, but then you got a couple guys fighting for that 2 spot. And naturally, you want to be able to get everybody in with Noah at some point. And then you also want your ones to be able to work with Sawyer and Luke, because if, God forbid, something were to happen to Noah, they also need to have that connection with those guys in the back. So it takes a little time, just a little thought process. I do believe the boys trust me in understanding that they're getting their fair shot. We also do a great job to be able to evaluate guys based off of the reps they're in on and the plays that they're actually making, not necessarily about who's throwing them the ball or was the ball completed, but more or less, are you lining up correctly? Are you making the right reads? Are you making the right adjustments? Are you blocking the right guys? So, that goes a lot into, obviously, the film study and being able to grade it out each and every practice and give guys their fair opportunity.
So Brandon Phelps was a guy that we heard a lot about in the wintertime, and we didn't really see him this spring because he was banged up. Where's he at right now health-wise, and then how's he doing right now?
He's a warrior, man. Brandon's tough. You could tell so he's still playing with the brace on. That's not, no receiver enjoys that. That's always a tough situation, but he hasn't complained once about it to me. So that just kind of tells you what kind of character he has. He continues to show up, continues to play hard. He's rotating with the 1s and the 2s. He's getting plenty of reps with Noah. So he's getting back comfortable again. He's made some really big plays for us, but at the same time, what I'm looking for Brandon is just that consistency that I know he brings to this offense and to this receiver room. I love his toughness. I love his attitude. I love the way he approaches the game, the classroom every single day, and he shows up ready to work.
So far throughout spring camp and the start of fall, we've heard just rave reviews about Rod, from a number of the coaches. And obviously you liked his film and all of the things to get him here. But is there something that's maybe been a pleasant surprise or something that has exceeded your expectations from him since he's arrived in Tucson?
About Rodney?
Yeah.
Probably his ability to play his role. This is his 4th season. So for him to be, and he's a true senior right now, for him to come here and choose to understand that, he's going to start sitting behind Gio, and just being completely honest, the way Gio's playing and his development and the way he's growing. For Rodney to be able to take that as a nod of confidence, but also a challenge, and for him to still choose to want to come to Arizona and play that role, knowing that he's going to have plenty of opportunities to help this football team win, says a lot about who he is and then what he thinks about this team. If it would be different if we were a team that he didn't believe in, a team that he didn't think was going to go, hopefully into the college football playoffs and, play a lot of football this year, I don't think it would have been the same. But, I'm really grateful for him to be here. He brings great leadership to the room. He's a joy to coach. Like, his energy is amazing as a human being. And, I'm just very grateful.
Jet Smith is a guy that's been getting some reps at punt return, which is a position that you played in the NFL. So what things do you teach him? What are some of the messages that you're giving to him as he's learning punt return, and what do you make of just his skill set?
Jet is, I was thinking about this last night, actually, just, we hope to be the team we're going to be this season. And if it comes out to where Jet has the opportunity to be the starting punt returner, you're starting a true freshman back there, that's saying a lot, you know what I mean? So we're trying to put as much pressure as we can on him, right now. So when you see us run those drills where you see me flashing water on him and I'm, putting crowns in his face and trying to, touch him when the catches come, I'm just trying to create as much pressure as I possibly can for when he's on the football field, he's comfortable back there catching punts. We're watching film, we're watching him catch the ball. We're moving him around a lot back there, just trying to put him in every scenario possible that he might be in. One thing I could tell you, just coming from where he comes from, Allen High School, the way he's raised in his family, like he can handle that pressure. There's no doubt about it. So we're hopeful for Jet. We think that he's going to be a guy to be able to be back there and give us a really, really big spark. He did that at a high level in high school, kick and punts. So, we're just trying to get him right for that opportunity when that comes.
There's a peer in the National Football League, Larry Fitzgerald. What were your thoughts on, obviously, him getting his rightful spot in Canton, Ohio this weekend?
Larry? Man, Larry's big time, man. Like you talk about just a pros. You know, like he's done everything right. Just an amazing football player. I love him too because he makes Phoenix home. You know, Phoenix is his place now. Obviously, his dad, you know, was a beat writer for Minnesota Vikings when I was there. So, you know, I had that connection and, you know, being able to be a part of, you know, his legacy just as far as, you know, his nonprofit and all those type of things. You know, Larry's been great for the football community, great for the Arizona community. So hats off to him, and he deserves it.
What have you seen from guys like Jet and RJ that have been consistent throughout camp so far, but still have a lot to learn?
Yeah, they're 1-2 to want to be good, and the way they come in and get extra. It's hard to, you know, for freshmen to find their way into my office early in the morning like they have been. You know, we do a 6:30 script review, signal review. They're in there at that time, then they come in afterwards asking for more help. So their eagerness to learn reminds me a lot of how Gio and Mizell were last year. And so I think that's their edge, you know, that ability. And then those two are probably the most elite when it comes to taking care of their bodies for freshmen. You know, they're constantly in the cold tub, they're constantly in the training room. And so I think they're ahead of the curve when it comes to understanding that if they're not available, they're not going to have their opportunity. And so usually that takes a little bit of time for freshmen to figure that out, but those two have been great about it. And they also do it together, so you always see them moving around and collectively as a unit. So I like that as a group, for them to be close and, you know, iron sharpens iron. So when, you know, I see one of them, typically I see the other one right behind them. So they're doing a great job with getting acclimated to what college football requires of them.
I think Daggy was saying the other day that DJ Jordan and Jordan Ross, they're kind of, right now, they're on the same train as Spivey, where you see the talent, but maybe some inconsistencies aren't leading to more reps. What do you think about those guys, and what's next for them right now as they continue to learn?
They're growing, man. I'm happy with where they're at right now. You know, and I say that because there was a lot of growth that had to take place for them to even be able to take reps for us right now. The tough thing about having the retention that we had last year from the guys is understanding that bottom group really has to go fast to be able to catch up. So, you know, Jordan and Ross, they've really had to, you know, there's almost like drinking through a fire hose, as they say, like it's coming at them fast. You know, not only just the football piece of it, but like the character piece of it. You know, what we're requiring from them off the field, you know, the demands about being on time, the demands in the weight room for being 15 minutes early, demand of being 5 minutes early to your team meetings. All these things are new to them. So I think the sense of urgency when they're in the building, they're starting to understand what that wiring is about. And at the same time, being able to let their guard down to be able to let us in so that they can trust us. And there's a big, it's hard to do. It's not easy. But they've done a great job with trying to allow us to coach them and coach them hard, and also tell them straight exactly where it is, you know, where they stand. And that's why you see those guys running with those groups that they're in right now, because even though in the summer they might have been repping with the 1s and 2s, the reality is this is where you stand, you know, and this is where you are right now. And how can we challenge you to take it to the next level? I'm pleased where they're at. I think they're taking the development now. They're opening up their hearts, opening up their minds to it, and I just expect them to really grow, continue to grow fast.
Let's do a couple more, Coach. You were promoted to assistant head coach during the offseason. How have you seen your roles and responsibilities change with that promotion, and how do you balance that while also being the receivers coach?
You know, Brennan's done a great job of allowing every position coach to be their own head coach. And so I say that because he's not over us, like micromanaging us. So for me, it was, you know, I really, truly appreciate the nod in that space. It's definitely something that I would love to be at some point. I'm extremely happy where I'm at. I'm in no rush for that. But, you know, it's just great to be able to know that, you know, your head coach believes in you, you know, and the rest of the group is like, yeah, let's go. But for us, man, it's really, we've been doing this on our own, every position. You know, he really allows us to, you know, set our own rules within our own room, you know, demand the standard along understanding like the red line is the standard for everything we do. So, you know, I'm grateful. I love the opportunity. I love to be able to do it here at my alma mater. And we'll see where that goes. But right now, on the receiver coach, and I love where I'm at.
For guys like Chris Hunter and Trace Spivey, who are the elder statesmen of the room, how do you get them to continue pushing themselves and develop and get better each and every day?
Yeah, it has to be for me to consistently make sure that so we always have this thing in the room that we talk about being great, not good. So they might feel like they're good where they're at. It's my job to make them continue to find their edge every single day. So the moment that they start to get comfortable, that's a bad place to be in. I want them to be confident, but that comfortability allows to lackadaisical, you start to be lackadaisical, you start to let things slip, the details start to fall. So my job as a coach is to make sure that they're consistently honest about where they're at, and then they're finding ways to get better every single day. Easier said than done, but I promise you that room and those two particularly are getting pushed to be their very, very best. So they get graded as hard as anybody else, and I'm not letting my guard down on that at all. I'm gonna continue to push them to be their very best.
Yeah, I don't, excuse me if you did have a relationship with him, but considering when he was at Arizona, did you know Mark Lunsford?
I did.
And then can you tell us about just the relationship you had and his legacy?
Yeah, man, just real history there. Like Coach Luns was major when it came to Arizona football. He's been around a long time. He's a Coach Tomey guy as well, but even prior to Tomey. But, just a guy that was, he was a pillar essentially to football. Like he was always around. He was a guy, so that you always look for these guys that carry through these different decades, through these different legacies, through these different coaches and things like that. And Luns was always that guy. But, he's in a better place now. There's no doubt about it. We lost a good one. And, we spoke about it when it was with the alumni the other day on Sunday. It's tough, but, we just try to focus on the life, and how great it was when he was here and how much he's done for Arizona football. So we're very grateful to Coach Lunsford and the time he put in. And it's unfortunate, but, we'll pick up the flag for him.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep. This is my wife,
Sorry, Chris, I noticed your thing was blurry there. I didn't know how to.
Oh, no, I ran out of space.
Oh, no, it's not.
I'll get yours.
Yeah, Rodney, welcome to Tucson. What has it been like for you to be a part of the Arizona football program, and why did you come to Arizona?
Yeah, it's been great. I came here for the fit, and I came here for the culture. It just felt right, and they were the only official visit I took. And after I got done here, I just told my dad that came with me that, yeah, I wanted to be here. And then just, meeting Bobby, then meeting Coach Deggy and Coach B, and just listening to what they had to say, about my game and watching my film and stuff. I knew off the bat I wanted to play for him. But, yeah, it's been nothing but special, and I'm just glad I chose Arizona.
Well, when you were talking to the coaches and when you were here, was there one thing that really jumped out to you that made you realize, okay, this is where I want to be?
Honestly, just Noah Fafita, playing for a legit quarterback, a Heisman quarterback. He's special, and he knows the game in and out. And it's a guy that, just wants you to be great just for him. And he just looks out for us, and we look out for him.
All right, we'll go David and then Chris.
Rodney, obviously, you played a year under Rich Rod at West Virginia. You coached here a number of years ago. Just what was that experience like, and why maybe was that not the right fit for you?
Yeah, Rich Rod, he's a good dude. Yeah, it was new scheme that, I just didn't see myself in. Nothing against him in that program, but yeah, I would say it just wasn't for me. And at the time, and I just wanted to come somewhere with a little bit spread more out, and but yeah, nothing against him, and I appreciate that program for giving me the chance to be on the field last year with them.
Chris and then Juan.
For Gio, just the comfort that you're feeling in year 2 versus year 1, and just how you've seen your game grow now that you're in your sophomore season, or going into your sophomore season.
Yeah, it's definitely a change. I would say like I'm way more comfortable. Towards the end of the year, I was starting to feel it. Like I was just starting to play my football that I like to play, and now as being like that guy, it's definitely way easier to just play at my own speed, not worry too much, and just play ball. So it's a lot easier.
Juan and then Justin.
Question for both of you. Coach Wade just said that the room is doing a good job of finding their role. What do you guys think your role is, and how do you feel about the room as a whole finding their roles?
I would say our role in the slot is to push each other. So I would say my role is to try to get to the best I could be and push Rodney to be the best he could be. And I would say his role is the same. I'll let him speak for him. But our role as everybody in the room, I feel like they're starting to get it, like where they fit at, what's their role, how they doing it, and executing to a high standard.
Yeah, and I think just going off of what Gio said, when I came here, when I first met Gio, I knew he was a great player. And every single day, we just want to push each other to be great. And the last interview he did, he said we wanted to be the best duo in the nation. And that's how we take, every practice, every meeting. Like, we just want to be that. And we want to come here and just prove people wrong because we got a lot to prove when we go on that field this year. And I say with the room in general, like you say, everybody pushing each other every single day and trying to, limit the mistakes that we're going to make on the field and just watching film study and just playing, faster and making the right read and play and just keep going.
Justin and then Jason.
Rodney, what was it like growing up in Uniontown, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's a very small town. Not a lot of great things come out of there. So, I just had to keep my head down and just go to work and, appreciate my family doing that the right way. But, it's just being in Western PA, you got to be tough. And that's how I hold myself. I just, coming out here, Coach Deggy said I'm tough and Coach Bobby said I'm tough. And that's just how I hold myself. And I've always held myself that way, just to play hard and just play for my team.
Is football a big deal in Uniontown, Pennsylvania?
Honestly, I would say it is, and it's not. Honestly, when I was in high school, it was a big thing. We kind of brought the community back into it. But, it's kind of more of a basketball town, I would say. Yeah.
Well, I was saying you were also a high-level basketball recruit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you had to make a decision, football or basketball. So why did you choose football?
Yeah. I made that decision at the end of my junior year. Actually, the end of my sophomore year, that I wanted to focus more on football. I mean, it really had to do with my size, and the basketball games evolved so much, and I just love the game of football more than I do basketball. And it was just about the brotherhood and just my fit in the future.
Jason and then David.
Rodney, a few of your peers have described you as a professional. What do you think that means, and just what goes into that mindset?
Yeah, I would just say just, being a leader and coming to work every single day is something that, I need to do just for not just for the room, but just, for my family also. And I just take pride in that, and everything counts, just the small things and stuff like that. I just need to do it at a high level because I know it could pay off on the football field.
David and then Justin?
Gio, coming into camp, we all thought that this wide receiver battle was going to be one to watch, just with the guys that are coming back. And then you throw in, some of the new guys like Rodney and DJ and Jordan and all of those Mosley and those guys, and the number just continues to grow. How would you describe the talent level that's on this team right now at that position?
I would say the talent level is crazy. We have guys that can literally do it all in every position. You go from the X, you got Trey, B. Phelps, and then RJ. Then you got a slot, you got me, Rodney, and Jet. And then you go to the Z, you got Chris, Mizell, and then J-Ro. And then you go back to the X, you got DJ still too over there. So we're literally 3 deep everywhere. So it's literally plug and play. Like, it's okay with us. We take a deep shot, and that guy makes the catch, and then he's tired. We could throw another one in and just have the same amount of productive. Like, nothing changes when you sub anybody out because we're all just that caliber of a player. So.
Justin and then Juan?
Gio, Mizell was a guy that was a part of your class. What have you seen out of him so far? And also, with the true freshmen like RJ and Caleb, what do you tell those guys about how to get on the field and get playing time?
For Mizell, I would say his maturity level just went up. Last year, like, he was just worried so much about playing, and like he thought in his head that he had it all figured out, which no freshman ever does. So this year, you could definitely tell he's matured more. He's taking a step back and like, okay, let me just get the whole, like, let me learn everything, and like, let me figure out how I can do everything right, and then the playing time will come with that. And then for RJ and Jet, I'd just tell them the same thing that I was being told is you learn everything, you know everything, and you do everything right, you will play. So don't go out there and overthink everything. Like, just play football, but just know that you know what you're doing. Like, you know what you know. So go out there with the confidence you always have, but just know that you can do that, and you can and you will be that guy. And then just play football. Football never changes. It's still 11 on 11. It's still a fun game. So we just play football at that point.
What do you remember about your experience getting on the field as a true freshman? What are you feeling? What kind of nerves and emotions do you go through in those moments?
Yeah, I would say I wasn't really too nervous. I was just like more shocked. Like, I've never played in front of this many people, and the game is a lot faster from high school to college. So when I stepped on it the first time, it was like, okay, yeah, like, let's go. And then I had a couple drops, so it's like, okay, now this is like, they're making good plays on me now. So then I just went back to, I'm that dude that I know I am, and then just the confidence went back up, and then I just feel like I just got back to my old self and started playing the football that I know I could play.
Yeah, Rodney, we've seen some guys in the past, like last year, Luke Wyson, what he did in the special team space has allowed him to get a training camp invite for the Minnesota Vikings. What messages are you being told? How much are you focused on special teams, thriving in that area, so that way you can, get to the next level?
Yeah, special teams is very important to me because, like you said, Luke, getting that invite, and just other guys, Aiden Garnes, I played with him at West Virginia. Just him with his special teams and stuff like that. It's very important at the next level, and you need to know what you're doing if you want to get that invite. So, just talking to coach, and I'm going to do anything that he asked me to do because obviously I want to get to the next level, even if it's for that way or being a returner or being a gunner. It doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, I just want to be on the field and play football.
And how excited are you to go back to Morgantown this year, and how many people are you expecting to have there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously my whole family's going to be there, just being close to home. But yeah, it's very exciting. Get to play against my old coaches and stuff. But I'm not going to really look a lot into it because it's just another game at the end of the day, and I need to go with the same mindset like I do with every other game. Just go and play the type of ball that I'm capable of playing.
Yeah, a question for both of you. Do you guys have like a Noah Fafita story? Like, is there one that kind of stands above the rest when you think about your time being teammates with him, whether it's on or off the field? What's that story that comes to mind?
I can't even think of one.
I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, just me in the short period of time, just already creating memories with Noah. Just him at the end of the day, just being a great dude. And, you know, like, we get to do stuff outside of football. It's just not always football all the time, and us just hanging out, going to get food, going bowling, just doing different stuff like that. And at the end of the day, he's just a great dude that, you know, I love to be around because, you know, he's a friend of mine. And you know, he loves the, you know, the receiver group and stuff like that. So
Noah, that man is just so much about football. Like, he has a great personality off the field, but it's still like all professional ball. Like, he's always around football. So he takes us to Mr. On's to just retrieve receivers, eat, and we're watching film in the restaurant. So it's like, I mean, how much can we get of it? You know what I'm saying? There's never enough with him. So we always love a quarterback that's going to be like that.
yeah.
Vaughn and then Chris.
Chris Hunter and Trace Spivey, the elder statesmen of the room. What have you taken from them, and how do they set the tone every day for you guys?
Both of those dudes are elite. Chris, you know, huge leader in the room. You know, everybody looks up to him, and he just sets a standard. And I appreciate Chris because he's helped me a lot while I've been here. And Spive is just like a freak in nature. I mean, 225, you can go. He can just go athletic, and he can really do everything. So them two dudes are gonna, you know, help us a ton this year.
Chris and then David.
For Rodney, you obviously have plenty of experience playing Division I football, but are new to Tucson. How are you trying to just, you know, whether it's lead by example or be a vocal leader early, just kind of bring that leadership and that experience to such a deep wide receiver room?
Yeah, I would say I'm just taking it honestly day by day and you know, just getting their input of the offense since they've been around more. And also just, you know, listening to Coach Deggy, listening to Coach Bobby and all those guys and just listening to Noah how he wants this to be run and stuff. So just taking the input every day, film study and just reps and coming out to practice for fall camp, just getting reps on reps and going against the defense and seeing different type of looks. So I think that's helped me a lot.
David.
Rodney, did you grow up a Steelers fan, and who was your guy growing up? And obviously Heinz Ward was up the street coaching at Rodney School.
Yeah, huge Steelers fan. Western PA guy, like I said. So I watch the Steelers every week. I mean, keep up on their training camp and stuff. And my family's huge Steelers fans. And the guy, AB, I was a huge AB fan when he's there. I got to catch a couple games when I was younger. And the dude was just playing at an elite level and watching Big Ben throwing the ball. It was crazy times in Pittsburgh.
Any more questions for the student athletes? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.